Hello and welcome to Spirit Talk. I received a telephone call from a very good friend of mine who lives in Akron, Mike. Mike has been following us on YouTube, and he said, "Hey Dave, how would you like to do an investigation at a farmhouse that is over 114 years old?" Are you kidding? How could we pass that up? I can only imagine the number of generations of families that live there. I'm sure that there would be a strong likelihood that we would get some type of EVPs or connection to ghost. So I said, "Mike, how'd you come across this house?" And he explained to me that his very good friend, dear friend, Kevin, his father passed away a year ago, and Kevin and his brother Ray have been working on liquidating the home and the father's assets to sell the home. And Kevin said, "Well, who knows? Maybe my dad will even come through." So with this, I thought, would be more than happy to do that. And Mike said, "I'm not going to tell you anything else about the home. All I'm going to tell you is it's an old farmhouse, and I'll tell you how to get there and where it's at. And let's see, if we can't coordinate a time." So based on this information, that's all I had. I said, "Sure." I called my sons. They were very excited about going on a full investigation. This would be the first time that they attended a full investigation, not a small impromptu investigation like we did at the apartments in Westlake. So this investigation included me, Randy, co-founder of Spirit Talk, and my son Chuck and Adam. So we met at Randy's house early in the morning of the investigation to go over and make a game plan of what we're going to do, who's going to be responsible for filming, who's going to take EVPs, and how we're going to cover the grounds and try to get this on film. When we met at Randy's and we were going over this meeting, Randy started getting impressions again, just like in episode 6. He was and has been getting pieces and images of this property and home. He even said this time he could smell what smelled like a musty, damp area, animals, or like dogs or cats. He was getting random bits of smells with the images of the home that he was seeing, or visualizing. And he actually, during the meeting, started sketching this out. It's quite amazing what he was picking up on, and we were all kind of anxious to see if he was truly seeing what he was seeing. So we packed up our gear, headed out, got in the car, and started heading out to Shaylersville. Now, Shayllersville is approximately from Lorain about an hour and a half. So we had a pretty lengthy journey ahead of us. My son Adam, who was sitting in the front seat, decided to film Randy and ask Randy what he was seeing, what kind of impressions he was getting. And this is that interview.
Last weekend's episode actually kind of threw me for a loop. I never thought ever that something like this would happen to me. Just, I guess, the thought of going to someone's home and then all of a sudden seeing a vision of a black and white picture of someone's home that I'd never been to before was different for me. As we got closer to going to this home, I started to feel anxiety, dizziness, just a feeling of uncomfort.
So what are you feeling now?
I don't have the anxiety that I had for that home, although I just keep getting bits and pieces this time. Last time I had a full picture of what the house looked like. This time I'm just getting pieces. I don't know why there's a particular window and siding corner of a house I'm seeing. I don't know why I keep getting a sense of a smell and a feeling of sadness, something like, I don't know if it's regret or feeling sorry for something, but I keep getting that. Twice today already, the number 10 has popped into my head. Something with paneling inside the house. I have no idea why, but I keep seeing like a piece of paneling with like a knot in it, or something that looks like rough sawn something. I don't know if it's paneling or part of the structure. I feel like there's an addition that was built onto this house, maybe not part of the original plan to the house, but it's so much different than last week that I don't know how to feel about it. I just don't feel the anxiety. I don't know if it's that I'm just starting to look at it like it's not a threat to me, but who knows? I guess we'll find out when we get there.
Now, after about an hour and a half of driving on the turnpike, we finally arrive at our exit. Now, Mike told me that when you get off the turnpike, you take a right, and about a quarter mile to a mile down the road, there's Shaylersville. Well, dummy me, I programmed in Shayllersville Town Hall into my GPS, and trusted my GPS, and we turned right off of onto 44 from the turnpike, and after quite some time, and we ended up in Ravenna, I realized that, okay, something's wrong here. So we turned around and headed back. As we approached the area again by the turnpike, then I saw the town hall. Mike said that the house was next to the Shaylersville Town Hall. It's a very small building. And so I had to turn around again and then come back like we did before. And upon approaching the house, Randy said, "That is my sketch." And I remember looking at a sketch before we left the home. And it's kind of funny because the first angle, or the first view we got of the house, was of a corner angle. The only thing missing was the front porch, and you can see the window. Randy described that it was a high foundation. In other words, Randy was saying that if you stood outside the house and tried to peep in the windows, you couldn't do it because the windows would be really high up because it had a higher than normal foundation. And as you can see, that's exactly what this house looks like. Randy also said that it would be white siding, but dirty, old aluminum type siding, probably maybe put on in the late 60s, early 70s, so it was weather worn, and it fit the description. So we pulled in the drive, we met Ray, introduced ourselves. Kevin and Mike were a little bit late, so they were falling a little bit behind, but they called Ray and said they would be there shortly. Ray was gracious and walked Randy around the property. And when Randy was walking, he said to Ray, I know this is a silly question, I guess, or a strange question, but in the backyard, was there another building, another structure, like a barn or a big garage? And Ray confirmed that, yeah, there indeed was a building long ago, and he even pointed out the area, and he said underneath the grass, there's pieces of the foundation. Again, how did Randy know this? I don't know. But then when Mike and Kevin arrived, we were talking, and Randy was going over his notes and talking to Mike about he's seen either paneling or a wood beam of something of rough wood. He could see like a bark. And Mike just kind of smiled and laughed, and he said, "You have to see what's inside the house." You know, it's again how Randy does this. I don't know, and why this is happening. You know, with this video here, you can see Adam on the outside conferring with Randy and his notes.
So Randy, what did you get on the drawings before we ended up going here?
The windows, tight edges, double pane like those with this on the bottom, the siding, the rock on the side.
So pretty accurate on your description with the dirty old white siding.
Yeah, the siding is exactly what I saw.
So after conferring with Adam and comparing the siding in the window, it was time to go inside and take a look at the house. Mike asked Randy, where do you want to go first? And Randy said the basement. And Mike just kind of chuckled, and Mike said, where do you see what's down there? And Randy said, I already know. And we get down into the basement and look around, and right there is a big bark, a big tree type thing as the main support beams, still with the bark and the knots in the wood. Apparently, when the home was built back in like 1870, instead of using the cut lumber supports, they use actual logs. And as you can see here, it's actual logs, and that's what Randy sketched in his notes. So again, it's amazing, to me that this suddenly kicked in, last investigation and now this one. And Randy seemed a little bit more relaxed this time about it, and this is something that I hope he embraces and doesn't fear, because he could be an incredible asset to what we do. If Randy could not only visualize the property before we arrive, but if he could also get a sense of the people and what they looked like, it might help us when we do our research to identify what time period or what era we need to look in for records. So it'll be really interesting to see how this gift will manifest and develop. Okay, so let's get on with our investigation and start presenting some of the evidence we collected. Now, it's important that you understand that when we were doing this, we did not get, even though we reviewed some of the audio at the time, we really didn't know if we had any EVPs or not. That came with a long ruling process the next day. And speaking of the next day, when we were reviewing the hours of audio tapes and recordings, Charles had the headset on, and he suddenly kind of jerked. He said, "Dad," and he took off the headphones and he said, "You've got to hear this." What you're going to see, or what you're going to hear, is I am talking to Ray, Mike, and Kevin, and I'm actually talking about another event. But as I'm talking, in one section, just before I start to speak, you're going to hear a child, or I don't know if it's a boy or girl. I think it's a girl, but you're going to hear a child say, "Daddy." And there were no kids in that house. There were none. There was no kids that could have even been outside that would have came across in this manner, in this EVP. If he hung out there, if he hung out there, if he hung out there, and after analyzing the audio, it turns out we got quite a few EVPs. Here I am going from room to room doing an EMF sweep. I am detecting the electromagnetic fields. These are believed to be associated with spirit activity. This particular investigation, we were getting virtually no hits off of the K2 meter. Just a few places, and you will see one that is upcoming that Charles detected or saw. But it is a little bit strange that we didn't get much, but yet we got a tremendous amount of EVPs. Now, as I go into the third bedroom after this one, when I walked in the room, I just felt like it was a child's room, and I felt a presence. I felt children. It's hard to explain. But I did capture an EVP, and I even say on the way out, check the time index. The reason I said this is because as I walked out, I felt a cold breeze go through me, and I thought I heard something. Can you tell me your name? Okay. Time index 114. Let's check that. Is there anyone here that would like to communicate? Can you tell us who you are? My name's Dave. This is my son Chuck. Now, at this point, you will hear the floorboards creaking. Randy was walking up the hallway. Now, this is where we capture another faint EVP, a whisper, and you will hear a voice say, "He's coming close." Do you have a message for anyone? See what we get any. Stick this in there and see if we can kind of like walk around, see if we get anything. Pretty much. As Chuck entered the bathroom, he said, "I got something," and he was referring to the EMF meter detector. Unfortunately, I should have been paying more attention to him and I should have trusted him. I thought that, okay, if there was a spike, it was probably caused by one of our cell phones getting a text message. I found that cell phones, just prior to a text message or when you're sending text messages, if an EMF meter is within 10 foot of that cell phone, it'll cause a fluctuation. And I kind of dismissed it. I should have trusted my son, because reviewing the video afterwards, you will hear an actual EVP. It says, "You're so close to me." And I really wish I would have stopped at that point and did a little bit more questioning with that work. And I guess it's a lesson learned. The spike we got on the stairs, I probably think was...
I had something.
Did you?
Yeah.
In the same session, I'm talking to the clients about an investigation in Lakewood, episode 6. And I'm explaining to them how the EMF detector, every time that the client talked about his mother, that it lit up and it went zzzt. Now, ironically, or if you watch this next clip and listen very carefully, there seems to be a child that is mimicking me. You're going to hear me go bzzzt, and then you're going to hear something that goes bzzzt, like after me. And I did not do it twice. This is not me. And then if you listen a little bit further into and watch, as I'm talking to the clients again about this investigation, you're going to hear a child go hee hee. Like it was laughing at me or laughing at what we were talking about. In the home that I did last Saturday in Lakewood, every time the client talked about his mother, it was going and then went back. So I'm thinking of mother, it was going and then went back. So I'm thinking, okay, is this, is this her? And in the basement, I wasn't 100% sure. Because he, Bill would say, "Well, Mom did." Because he, Bill would say, "Well, Mom did." Now, up until this point, the EVPs that you have been listening to have been recorded as is. There is no audio enhancement or filtration being used by Audacity. Now, this next section. Adam and Chuck went upstairs to conduct the radio scan method EVPs. And for those of you who have not seen the previous episodes, radio scan, we take a radio, we spin the dial real fast so it goes through the stations, and lo and behold, when we play it back, there are messages revealed. Now, after analyzing this footage, it's amazing the messages that the boys got. I think it's incredible evidence, and I will play those for you in sequence now in this recording.
Green room, child's room, radio scan method recording number 1. Is there anybody here who would like to talk to us? When Charles turns on the radio, use its energy to focus it into words. Is there a child in this house? What is your name? Thank you. We're ready for the next one.
Same deal. If there's anyone who wants to communicate, we're going to turn on this radio for approximately a minute and a half. What you can do is you can channel your energy through this device to get it to say what you want to say. Use the frequency of the waves to, communicate. Starting now. Now.
Are you all friends?
I know that was quite a few EVPs to process. If you did not hear these or all of them, I encourage you to back up the movie on YouTube and watch them again. The messages are there. I'm not saying, or we're not saying, that they're precisely as the spirits intended, but we again feel reasonably confident that we are translating the messages closely or pretty accurately to what they're trying to convey. Now, the interesting thing with this particular investigation is we got so many names. We got Robert, we got Paula, we got Mavis, we got Emily. It's either Tate, and I don't know if that's first or last name, or it could be Kate, but it sounds more like Tate. Now, Randy is excellent at doing research and reaching out to those that could help us. He's contacted the University of Akron, their archival department, and they are more than happy to help us, and they will be, or they are currently researching and trying to find all the property deeds that they have as far back as they can get on that land, and they hope to have some information for us within a week or two. Also, Randy contacted the Shaylersville Historical Society, and the woman that he spoke to, she said that her husband grew up right there and that he was very familiar with the home and knew the last resident, Ray, Kevin and Ray's father, that her husband knew him, and that she would talk to her husband and see what he knew about the history prior to Ray living in that home. One of the disturbing or questionable EVPs was in the last room when it pretty much sounds like someone committed murder or killed someone in self-defense in order to protect Emily. And again, the name was repeated several times, that name, Emily. Whether this was her husband, her father, her mother, it's hard to say, but something transpired there on that property, and maybe even before the home was built. This could have been back to colonial days. That's the problem with this, is that we don't know. Unfortunately, in retrospect, shows what amateurs we are. We should have been asking the spirits, in what time period did you live? If we could have got at least one of them to tell us at what time they passed away, or when did they die, what year, we might have been able to start our research at that point, but none of us thought to do that. However, we do plan on a return investigation, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, while that property is still in control of the brothers. We do plan on returning and trying to get some more information. But more importantly, on our last visit there, we are going to attempt to cross them over. It's clear, I think, that some of the souls there wish to join with the light and return home. And that's something that we as a group need to make our primary mission on any investigation, that we offer that to try to pray and open up that light so that they may go home. What is the sense of doing paranormal investigations to discover ghosts if we're not willing to help them, if that's what they so choose? Again, based upon the thousands of EVPs that I have collected over the years, I do believe that the Lord, in all of His grace, free will still exists at the moment of our death, and we can choose not to go into that light. Again, free will is something that just is not in this incarnate body. It is part of our soul from the Father. And hopefully you have been able to hear some of these EVPs. Again, we realize that if you're not accustomed to listening to EVPs, again, it's electronic voice phenomenon, okay? Ghosts do not have vocal cords, so they are not going to come across as clearly as I am coming across to you. We don't know, again, how they do it, so their communication is different than just sitting down and talking with someone, but it is there. And we hope that you've enjoyed this presentation. Kind of keep in touch with Spirit Talk on YouTube, because we certainly will be doing a follow-up to this presentation. There were so many EVPs, we could not possibly fit them in this presentation, and as it is now, I fear that I may be going over my time limit on YouTube, and certainly hope that I do not have to edit this. Again, if you're from the North Coast area of Ohio and you would like an investigation on your property, or wish to attempt communication with a loved one that have crossed over, please email me, Dave Hensley, at EVP Medium. Again, that's evpmedium@gmail.com. And until the next time, may you be blessed, enjoy life, live life, love it, and cherish those that are with you. And take comfort in knowing that those that have departed this world that you loved, you will see them again. Of that, I am absolutely confident about. Again, thank you for watching.